BRAINY presents 7 Traits of People Who Don't Do Casual Relationships. There's a social trend around being low maintenance in relationships, like pretending not to care, never asking questions, and avoiding any signs of emotional depth. But not everyone is built for that. While some people are out there swiping, ghosting, and seeking no strings attached relationships, others prefer something slower, more intentional, and rooted in mutual understanding. Not because they're uptight, but because they know themselves, and casual just doesn't align with how they connect. And in times where hookup culture is practically celebrated, it's easy to overlook the power of that level of clarity. So let's talk about the traits and patterns of people who naturally don't do casual, and why it might just be one of the most self-aware choices one can make. Number 1, they're grounded in emotional stability. You know that rush you feel when you click with someone? The spark, the butterflies. It's exciting, right? But just because they make your heart race doesn't mean they're healthy for you. Sure, new people can be fun, and new attention can feel flattering. But those who value emotional depth have learned that novelty fades quickly, and when it does, what's left matters more. They're not looking for someone who excites them for a week or two. They want someone they can relax around, someone who listens without judgment, respects boundaries, and creates space for honesty. That kind of safety takes time to build, and it's not something they'd ever expect from casual dynamics. Number 2, they're uncomfortable with ambiguity. For some, the thrill of the unknown is part of the appeal when it comes to casual dating. The will they, won't they tension, the mystery. But for those who don't play the field, ambiguity is more distracting than exciting. They don't want to decode mixed signals or live in gray areas. They prefer clarity, direction, and steady emotional ground. They're not expecting guarantees per se, but if someone can't express basic intentions or keeps things vague on purpose, they don't stick around to figure it out. Number 3, they're observant and emotionally strategic. Some people aren't into surface-level dating because they know how it tends to unfold. Maybe they've tried it themselves and realized it never stayed as light as it started. Or maybe they've watched close friends get caught in dynamics that promised attachment, but delivered confusion, mixed signals, or quiet resentment. They've noticed how quickly no strings turns into someone catching feelings, someone pulling away, and someone being left to guess what the heck just happened. Even when intentions start out clear, they often shift, because people are complex and emotions don't always stay in their lane. For them, it's simply not worth the emotional friction. They'd rather stay out of it completely than pretend something casual won't complicate things down the line. Number 4, they link intimacy with emotional connection. For those who date with purpose, physical intimacy isn't a casual add-on to spending time with someone. It's part of an emotional and mental connection that matters. It doesn't mean they're overly serious or reserved. They're just more comfortable with intimacy when there's trust, emotional safety, and mutual understanding. Without those things, it just doesn't feel right. They don't treat access to their body as separate from access to their inner world. If one feels off, the other doesn't happen. Number 5, they're unmoved by external validation. Dating often becomes a way for people to feel desirable, seen, or relevant, especially when romantic attention is treated like a measure of success. But for connection-focused daters, that kind of external validation doesn't carry much weight. They don't need compliments to feel valued. They don't need constant attention to feel secure, and their self-esteem certainly isn't built on how many people want them. They already know their worth and don't need to collect compliments, rack up numbers, or prove anything to anyone. Number 6, they have strong self-respect. People who avoid casual relationships are not willing to be someone's in-between. They're quick to recognize when they're being treated as a placeholder, whether through vague intentions, low effort, or emotional distance. And they don't wait around hoping it turns into something more. Being chosen matters to them, but only if it's intentional. If the connection feels more like a convenience than a commitment, they'd rather walk than stay in a role they never signed up for. Number 7, they prioritize integrity over approval. Yes, they probably get called picky or too serious, but those who avoid the just for now dating game have learned that being potentially misunderstood is far easier to live with than pretending to be okay with something they're not. Why dilute expectations to seem more approachable? If their standards make someone uncomfortable, they let that discomfort do its job. They're not interested in fitting into situations where they have to compromise who they are in order to belong. For them, peace comes from knowing they didn't bend just to be accepted. In essence, people who don't do casual aren't wired for half-hearted effort. That's not to say they're judging other people's dating choices, but they've learned to trust their own. They're not here to chase what's popular. They're here to connect in ways that feel honest, real, and intentional. And if that doesn't fit into a dating culture obsessed with keeping things casual, that's fine. They were never trying to fit in anyway. If this resonated with you, give it a like and leave a comment. We read every one of them. Know someone who needs to hear this but won't look for it themselves? Share it with them. And don't forget to subscribe for more honest, no-fluff content every week. Thanks for watching.